There have been many efforts to keep Liberace's Las Vegas legacy alive.
His mansion in Las Vegas, of course, Las Vegas was so close to his heart.
Some of Hollywood's most famous mansions were demolished to bury what happened inside. Rooms were sealed, addresses were changed, entire estates vanished overnight. The owners had the money to make problems disappear, and they did. But some secrets refused to stay hidden. These are the 15 haunted celebrity mansions. What were they so desperate to erase? And why do new owners keep leaving? Join us as we look through 15 celebrity mansions with secrets. Number 15. Pfair. The estate covered 56 acres in Beverly Hills and stood as a symbol of old Hollywood power. It was built in 1919 and quickly became the most famous home in early cinema. Stars did not just live there, they gathered there. Parties filled the halls. Albert Einstein talked science over drinks. Amelia Earhart spoke about flying across oceans. Writers, actors, and producers passed through its doors. Every room carried the weight of success. Every wall held a memory. For decades, the mansion showed what Hollywood dreams could become. Tour buses slowed outside the gates. Cameras flashed. Preservation groups called it untouchable. Then, in 1988, the unthinkable happened. The new owner ordered the entire mansion destroyed. Bulldozers rolled in. Walls that had stood for nearly 70 years came down. People protested in the streets. The public was told termites had ruined the structure beyond repair. That story did not hold. Months before the demolition, staff had begun quitting without warning. Some left personal items behind. Others refused to return, even for their pay. When asked why, a few spoke quietly about what they had seen. A woman in old-fashioned clothes, always on the main staircase, always watching. As renovation work began, the activity grew worse. The woman in white appeared most often when workers tried to change the house. Tools vanished. Paint spilt on its own. One man swore unseen hands pushed him away from a wall. A longtime groundskeeper said the original owner built the house at the height of her fame and never planned to leave, not even in death. The owner later admitted the truth. The house was haunted. Living there was impossible. Number 14. Lauri Mansion. The Lauri Mansion in New Orleans looked like any other elegant home in the French Quarter. Built in 1832, its wrought iron balconies and grand facade drew wealthy buyers for nearly 200 years. Real estate agents spoke of history and architecture. They never mentioned April 10, 1834. That day, a kitchen fire brought neighbors and firemen inside. What they found on the third floor was unimaginable. The owner had been torturing enslaved people in a hidden room. Chains bound men and women to the walls. Bones were broken and reset wrong. Surgical wounds caused pain for no reason. Months of suffering had been hidden behind fancy parties and charity events. The owner escaped to Paris and never faced justice. But the mansion never forgot. Over the years, no owner stayed long. In 2007, Nicolas Cage bought it for $3.45 million. He had a fascination with the occult, but he sold it almost immediately. Workers tell a darker story. Chains rattled inside empty walls. Screams echoed from vacant rooms. Shadows of injured people appeared and vanished. Tools moved on their own. Invisible hands touched workers. Paranormal investigators recorded voices pleading for help in the languages of the enslaved. Smells of blood, burning flesh, and decay came without warning. Even owners woke feeling suffocated, as if reliving the victims' final moments. The chamber where the torture happened is now sealed, but anyone who tries to live there feels their presence. Number 13. The house. The house in Los Feliz looked quiet and ordinary. 2 stories, clean yard. On December 6, 1959, Dr. Harold Perelson lived there with his wife and 3 children. Neighbors noticed nothing strange that day. No shouting, no warnings. Everything felt normal. That night, Perelson walked into his teenage daughter's room while she slept. He carried a small hammer. He struck her again and again. She woke screaming, bleeding badly, and fought back. Somehow, she escaped and ran to a neighbor for help. Perelson then went to the bedroom where his wife slept. She never woke up. He killed her with the same hammer. After that, he did something that chilled police for years. He sat in the living room, picked up a magazine, and began to read. Reports say he stayed there for at least 30 minutes, calm, silent. Then he went to the kitchen, drank acid, and died. The house should have been empty forever, but in 1960, the Enriquez family bought it cheaply. They never moved in, not once. For more than 50 years, the house sat frozen in time. Furniture stayed where it was. Christmas gifts remained under the tree. The calendar still showed December 1959. Neighbors saw moving lights inside, heard voices. Police found nothing. Visitors smelled rotting flowers with no source. Rooms turned ice cold without warning. Many heard a man's voice whisper, "No more," again and again. Trespassers described a man in pajamas standing at the top of the stairs, staring in confusion and anger. He vanished when they blinked. The house was sold in 2016 and renovated. Everything changed, except for the feeling on the stairs. Number 12. 150 Cielo Drive. The Spanish-style mansion in Benedict Canyon looked like a dream home. It sat high above Los Angeles with wide views, tall trees, and total privacy. In 1969, a young actress and her husband rented the house. She was pregnant. He worked with famous people in Hollywood. Friends visited often. They talked about plans and the baby on the way. Nothing felt wrong. On August 8, 1969, the actress invited friends over for a quiet night. Just dinner. Just talking. 4 people came. They stayed late. None of them survived the night. After midnight, members of Charles Manson's group entered the house. What followed was savage and cruel. The pregnant actress and 4 others were killed. The walls were written on with blood. By morning, the house was silent. The address became known across the world. 10,050 Cielo Drive, the place where Sharon Tate died. After that night, the house changed. Guards heard screams when no one was inside. Crying moved through empty rooms. Men who felt fearless refused to enter certain areas. They said the air felt heavy, cold, wrong. Many saw the same figure, a pregnant woman in a nightgown. She stood at the window, staring outside. She appeared in the living room where she died, always still, always afraid. Neighbors say no one stays for long. Number 11. Madonna Inn, Room 609. The hotel in San Luis Obispo was famous for its over-the-top style. Each room had a wild theme: pink walls, waterfall urinals, bright, crazy decor. People came for the photos, the experience, the fun. But Room 609 had a different reputation. The story was never clear. Something had happened on the site before. No dates, no names, just whispers that 609 was not like the others. Hollywood celebrities started asking for it. Actors, directors, people with money who wanted a thrill. They came joking, with cameras and friends. They never laughed for long. One actress checked in late. The room looked normal. She went to sleep around 11. At 3, she felt weight on the edge of her bed. She opened her eyes. A woman stood by the window, staring at her. Long dark hair, white nightgown. Not moving, not threatening, just staring. She turned on the light. The room was empty, cold, freezing. She left immediately. Hundreds of guests reported the same thing over decades. A woman in a white nightgown, appearing between 2 and 4 in the morning, standing near the window or the bathroom, sometimes for seconds, sometimes for minutes. Electronics died. Alarm clocks reset to 3 a.m. Help Me appeared on mirrors, even when no one had showered. Celebrities request the room by name. Many check out before sunrise, pale and silent, leaving belongings behind. Even groups prepared with cameras last only a few hours. Management denies anything unusual, blaming imagination or old building noises. But they know Room 609 has the highest turnover. The room is always available. Eventually, because no one stays long. Number 10. The Cecil Hotel. The building opened in 1927 as a beautiful hotel in downtown Los Angeles. It had 700 rooms, a grand lobby, and clean marble floors. Business travelers stayed there. Salesmen, executives, people passing through the city. At first, it worked exactly as planned. Then the city changed around it. The streets outside became Skid Row. Poverty moved in. Crime followed. Tourists stopped coming. The hotel was filled with people who had nowhere else to go. Long stays replaced short visits. Hope slowly drained out of the rooms. Deaths began to stack up. Bodies are found days or weeks later. Some guests vanished and were discovered months after. The hotel became a place where tragedy felt normal. In the 1980s, a serial killer named Richard Ramirez lived there while killing people across Los Angeles. He walked through the lobby at night, covered in blood. No one stopped him. No one asked why. The hotel had reached a point where nothing shocked anyone anymore. Years later, another killer, Jack Unterweger, stayed there while killing women nearby. He also used the hotel as his base. By then, the building felt heavy, like it was holding on to every scream and every final breath. In January 2013, a young student named Elisa Lam checked in alone. Then, she vanished. Weeks later, her body was found inside a rooftop water tank. Guests had been drinking that water the entire time. Security video showed Elisa acting afraid in an elevator, pressing buttons, hiding, and talking to someone no one could see. No clear answers ever came. After that, the stories grew darker. Guests felt hands touch them in their sleep. People saw figures standing in their rooms. Long-term residents heard crying, footsteps, and loud impacts in the night. The hotel tried to change its name. It failed. In 2021, it stopped taking guests. Number 9, 12305 Fifth, Helena Drive. The small house in Brentwood did not look special. It was quiet and simple, like many homes in Los Angeles. Nothing about it suggested fame, power, or tragedy. For the woman who bought it in early 1962, it meant freedom. Her whole life had been controlled by others. Studio bosses decided her roles. Husbands controlled her money. She had never owned anything fully her own. This house was different. She paid for it herself. Her name was on the papers. For the first time, she had a place that belonged only to her. She lived there for 4 months. On August 5, 1962, her housekeeper arrived and found the bedroom door locked. She called out. No answer. Hours passed. A doctor was called. A window was broken to get inside. The woman was found dead in her bed, pills on the table beside her. Officials called it a likely self-harm. Many people never believed that. After her death, the house changed. People who lived there later saw a blonde woman in mirrors and windows, not a shadow, a clear reflection. When they turned around, no one was there. The image stayed in the glass for seconds, then faded away. The bedroom where she died stayed cold, even during summer. Heat did nothing. The cold never left. Guests woke at night and saw a woman sitting at the vanity, slowly brushing her hair. When spoken to, she vanished. Her perfume filled rooms without warning. Chanel No. 5, mixed with a sharp medical smell. Then it was gone. The house was remodeled again and again. Nothing stopped it. Owners kept leaving. Marilyn Monroe bought her first home to begin a new life, but he never got the chance to leave it. Number 8. 3301 Waverly Drive. One night after the killings on Cielo Drive, the same group came back to Los Angeles. They were told to find another house, any house. They drove through Los Feliz, a quiet place where families slept, unaware. They stopped at 3301 Waverly Drive. The house was not special. It was simply there. Just after midnight on August 10, 1969, they broke in. The couple inside had no chance. The husband was tied up in the living room. The wife was killed in the bedroom. Words were carved into the husband's body. Messages were written on the walls in blood. When it was over, the killers ate food from the kitchen and walked out the front door. The world remembered Cielo Drive. Few remembered Waverly Drive. Every owner reported the same things. Cold air moved through the house. Not whole rooms, but small areas that followed people as they walked. Even in summer, the cold felt like ice water. It lingered in the living room and bedroom, the places where the couple died. Dark figures appeared at night. Silent shapes stood in doorways or at the foot of beds. When someone looked straight at them, They vanished. When they looked away, the figures returned. Whispers filled empty rooms. Always two voices. Always quiet. When someone entered, the voices stopped. One family left after 7 months. They heard heavy footsteps upstairs when no one was home, walking the same path again and again. Their dog refused to enter the rooms where the killings happened, shaking and backing away. At night, scratching sounds came from the walls, the sound of writing, always writing. Nothing was ever there by morning. The house became hard to sell. Buyers left quickly. Owners lost money just to escape. Number 7, 1579, Benedict Canyon Drive. The house in Benedict Canyon once belonged to a man who made the world believe a human could fly. On television, he wore a cape, stopped crime, and always won. Children trusted him. Parents admired him. To millions, he was Superman. On June 16, 1959, police were called to that house. They found George Reeves dead at the bottom of the stairs. He had been shot in the head. A gun lay nearby. The case was closed quickly. Self-harm. But the scene never made sense. The bullet angle was wrong. There was no gunpowder on his hands. 3 people were inside the house that night, all with reasons to lie. Police barely questioned them. Then they walked away. After that night, the house changed. Every owner noticed the same thing. At the foot of the stairs, where Reeves was found, the air is always cold, not cool, freezing. Summer or winter, it never changes. People also see a man in mirrors, not standing in the room, only in reflections. Tall, wearing the Superman suit. He never moves. He never speaks. When they turn to look, he is gone. When they look back at the mirror, he is there again. At night, heavy footsteps move upstairs. Slow, careful. From the bedroom to the stairs, down to the bottom. Then, silence. This often happens around 3 in the morning, the time Reeves likely died. Some residents hear a gunshot. Loud, sharp, real. They rush to check. Nothing is ever found. In the bedroom, dark stains appear on the carpet. Blood-like marks that grow, then vanish. Owners replace the carpet. The stains return in the same place. Investigators recorded a man's voice in that room. It says, "This is not what happened." Another recording says, "Look closer. The house is still there." And whatever happened to George Reeves that night refuses to stay buried. Number 6, Laurel Canyon Estate. The estate in Laurel Canyon was built for secrets. When the owner bought it in 1919, he changed everything. He added hidden doors behind shelves, passages inside walls, stairs that ended at blank walls. He built a deep water tank so he could practice holding his breath while chained underwater. The owner was Harry Houdini. He escaped locks, ropes, boxes, and prisons. Crowds watched him survive things that should have killed him. He believed no cage could hold him. He also believed the dead could not speak to the living. He spent years exposing fake mediums and false spirits. Then, in 1926, Houdini died suddenly. His appendix burst. Infection spread. He was 52. His wife, Bess, was broken by the loss. Before he died, they agreed on a secret code. If Houdini found a way back from death, he would send that message. Only they knew it. For 10 years, Bess held seances in the Laurel Canyon house. Every Halloween, mediums, witnesses, candles, silence. She waited for the code. It never came. After 10 years, Bess stopped. She said, Houdini was right. The dead do not return. But the house did not agree. Later owners noticed strange things. Locked doors opened by morning. Objects vanished, then appeared in other rooms. Keys moved. Watches traveled. Books changed places. Water faucets turned on by themselves in the night. Full force. No leaks. No damage. It felt deliberate, like a performance. Investigators said the activity copied Houdini's skills, escaping locks, moving objects, controlling space. In 2013, a seance was held on Halloween. Recordings caught whispers. One voice came through clearly. It said, "Bess, I am waiting." Bess had been dead for decades. The house has changed. Passages sealed. The tank was removed. Maybe Houdini is still trying to escape, and maybe this is the one lock he cannot break. Number 5. 1822 Camino Palmero Street. For millions of Americans in the 1950s and 60s, they looked like the perfect family. A calm father, a cheerful mother, polite children, no shouting, no real problems. Every episode ended happily. The show was the adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. What most people did not know was that the show was filmed inside the family's real home in the Hollywood Hills. The house at 1822 Camino Palmero was not a set. It was where they actually lived. But the perfect family was an act. Ozzie Nelson controlled everything. He wrote the stories, he directed the scenes. He decided how the family looked to the world. What America saw was not real life. It was a performance. Ozzie died in 1975. The show was long over. The family moved on, but the house did not. New owners began hearing a typewriter late at night. Clear and steady, someone typing. Always from Ozzie's old office. No typewriter was there. Others heard a woman humming softly in the kitchen. The same tune Harriet sang on television. Some smelled old pipe tobacco filling the office, even though no one smoked. Shadows moved through rooms. A man at a desk. A woman at the counter. Always busy. Always working. Families living there felt watched during dinners and holidays, like invisible guests were judging them. Number 4. 1908. 20 Easton Drive. The Spanish-style mansion looked like a dream home for Hollywood royalty. In 1932, MGM producer Paul Byrne bought it to show he had made it. That summer, he married actress Jean Harlow. She was young, famous, and adored. 2 months later, everything ended. On September 5, 1932, Byrne was found dead in the master bedroom. He was naked, shot in the head. A gun lay nearby. A note on the nightstand sounded like a goodbye, but it made little sense. Police ruled it a self-harm. Many people did not believe that. The house never accepted that answer. New owners began hearing a single gunshot at 3 in the morning. Always one shot. Always from the bedroom. Then came footsteps. A man walking to the bathroom. Then a heavy fall. Cold air followed. Sudden, sharp, even in summer. Rooms dropped in temperature, then warmed again. People heard arguing voices. One man, one woman, angry, desperate. The voices stopped the moment someone entered the room. Anything placed on the nightstand fell to the floor overnight. Books, glasses, frames, always the same spot. Years later, hairstylist Jay Sebring owned the house. He was killed elsewhere in 1969. After that, people saw a man by the pool staring into the water. He vanished when approached. 3 deaths, 1 house. Number 3. 1436 Bella Drive. The silent film star bought the Benedict Canyon estate in 1925 at the height of his fame. He was 30 years old and the most famous actor on earth. Women adored him. Crowds followed him everywhere. He named the home Falcon Lair, a symbol of success and freedom. He lived there for only 1 year. In August 1926, Rudolph Valentino died suddenly in New York after surgery. He was 31. Hollywood was stunned. His funeral drew massive crowds. His career ended overnight, but many believe he never left Falcon Lair. A caretaker in the 1970s said Valentino still appeared at the house. He was always seen at the top of the main staircase. Tall, slim, dark hair slicked back, dressed in elegant evening clothes. He never spoke, never moved. He simply watched. Then he vanished in a blink. Even more common were signs of Valentino's dog. People heard claws clicking on floors. Footsteps moved through the halls. Visitors felt a large dog brush against their legs. Some felt a cold nose touch their hand. No animal was ever seen. At night, music drifted through empty rooms. Laughter, glasses clinking, tango music from the 1920s. Doors opened to silence and dust. Women felt a presence close behind them, a soft touch, old cologne in the air. The mansion was torn down decades ago. New buildings stand there now. Number 2, 5620 Harold Way. The man who taught the world to fear Dracula did not spend his final years in a castle or a grand estate, but in a small apartment building in Hollywood. living among ordinary people who passed him in hallways without realizing they were walking past a legend whose face once filled cinemas across America. By the time Bela Lugosi died in 1956, at 73 years old, his fame had faded. His money was gone, and his health had collapsed, leaving him largely forgotten, despite creating one of the most famous characters in film history. At his funeral, Lugosi was buried wearing his full Dracula costume, including the black cape, exactly as he requested, a decision that many found strange, but which later felt unsettling as reports began to surface from tenants who lived in his former apartment at 5620 Harold Way. Over the decades, residents described the same experiences with striking consistency, beginning with the sudden smell of heavy pipe tobacco that would fill a room without warning, thick and old-fashioned, matching the exact blend Lugosi was known to smoke, appearing from nowhere and disappearing just as quickly. Tenants also spoke of an intense feeling of being watched, as if a tall figure stood silently in doorways observing them, never moving, never threatening, yet impossible to ignore, vanishing the moment lights were turned on, while the sense of presence remained. Without warning, rooms would grow bitterly cold, temperatures dropping so fast that breath became visible in the air, only to return to normal seconds later as if nothing had happened. One resident from the 1980s described waking repeatedly between 3 and 4 in the morning with the unmistakable sense that someone was standing nearby. And when their eyes adjusted to the darkness, they saw a tall, thin silhouette in the doorway, perfectly still, with the shape of a cape visible against the shadows. When the light came on, the figure was gone, leaving only freezing air and the smell of pipe smoke behind. Some tenants reported hearing a deep voice with a Hungarian accent, whispering from empty rooms, always repeating the same words, spoken softly and closely, as though from just behind them, "I am Dracula." Building management downplays the stories, yet tenants rarely stay long, often breaking leases without clear explanations. One former resident said living there feels like sharing space with someone who never realized they died, still smoking his pipe, still rehearsing his lines, still living the role he could never leave behind. Number 1. 4982. Shirley Street Liberace spent his final years inside a large Las Vegas home on Shirley Street, where he lived until 1987, when he died from illness linked to AIDS. And even during his lifetime, the house reflected his loud, polished, attention-loving personality that never fit into silence. After his death, new owners and visitors began reporting strange events that felt less like haunting and more like an encore that never ended. Late at night, complex piano music would drift through the house, not simple melodies but long, dramatic passages filled with flair, played in a style that matched Liberace so closely that people felt certain no one else could have produced it. A security guard working overnight shifts often heard the music around 2 or 3 in the morning, followed the sound to the piano room, found it empty, and then heard the music begin again the moment they walked away. Some visitors reported seeing a glowing figure dressed in sparkling clothing moving through the hallways or standing near the windows overlooking the fountains, surrounded by a soft golden light that faded slowly rather than vanishing suddenly. Investigators later documented sudden cold spots in the bedroom and bathroom where Liberace spent his final days, with temperatures dropping 15 to 20 degrees without any physical explanation. Electronics failed often, batteries drained too quickly, and strong smells of cologne, candle wax, and champagne appeared and disappeared without warning, usually alongside the feeling that someone was nearby. One psychic said the energy felt joyful and performative, as if Liberace was still playing to an audience, still waiting for applause that never came, and refusing to let the curtain fall. The lights are gone, the costumes are stored away, but the performance continues in the quiet hours, because for someone who lived to entertain, the show never truly ended. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, leave nice comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more interesting content. Check out another interesting video by clicking on the video appearing on your screen right now.